In West Africa, the police in Ghana on Tuesday fired tear gas to disperse members of the pressure group Arise Ghana as they protested over the high cost of living in the capital, Accra. Some protesters pelted objects at the police as security officers fired tear gas at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle. The police say 12 personnel were injured in the clash, while sources say at least 10 demonstrators were arrested. The two-day protest is expected to end on Wednesday. Organizers of the demonstration say the reasons for their action include the persistent and astronomical hikes in the cost of fuel. They add that repeated increases in fuel prices have inflicted excruciating hardship and financial distress on Ghanaians already struggling to cope in a harsh economic climate. Adib Saani, a security analyst and executive director, Jatikay Center for Human Security and Peace Building, joins me now to unpack this. Good to see you, Jatikay Saani. Now, Ghana has, just like many African countries, is battling rising cost of living, inflation, among other economic woes. Now, what do you think the government can do to quickly stem the rising disaffection in the polity?
Well, I think the global issue affects almost every country in the world. Ghana is not left out. But I think the major issue in the country has to do with the waste in the system. We are a country that is grappling economically. The politicians told the people that we were almost at the verge of collapse. There's no money, and so brace yourself for special taxes. And so the government implemented one of the most unpopular tax regimes ever in the country, and that is the electronic transaction levy. It was so unpopular to the extent that it had to go to the courts. There were some demonstrations against it, yet the government went ahead. But that notwithstanding, today, as it stands, the government of Ghana has committed over 200 million Ghana cedis. As a matter of fact, that is about $30 million to a cathedral project, which the people were told right from the onset is going to be sponsored by private citizens. On the other hand, we are grappling with so much wastage in the system. Currently, as we speak, the president has to shuttle across the globe in a very expensive private jet that is costing the taxpayer about $20,000 an hour, despite the fact that we have a presidential airliner which is not used, and the president would rather resort to the use of expensive private jets. So if we are able to control the wastage in the system, and by the way, the cathedral project, a gentleman who is associated with the president has been paid about 22 million cedis just for the drawing, as a matter of fact, just for the drawing. And by the way, it's not 22 million cedis, it's $22 million for the drawing, architectural drawing for the cathedral. So if we are able to control all of these unnecessary expenditure, I'm pretty sure that these monies will be used to improve the lives of Ghanaians.
Well, Adib, what's the conduct of security agents like while protesters hit different locations to protest on this particular situation?
Well, we have had a number of protests that has been characterized by violence. Not so long ago, there was a protest in the Ashanti region of Ghana in a town called Ijira, resulting in the deaths of some protesters. Just a few weeks ago, there were protests in Nkoranza. A young man was allegedly killed by the police, and another person later shot. There were protests in Tamale, and mostly the police has a certain terminator mentality to protest. The police, to a very large extent, feels that the only way to disperse a crowd, a violent crowd, is the use of maximum force. So there's always that high propensity for the use of lethal ammunition, okay? But that notwithstanding, today, I was there at the protest site. I think largely The police was very professional. In fact, before they even got to the scene, the IGP had addressed them and told them categorically to treat the protesters as their own. And they shouldn't treat them in a manner they don't want anyone to treat them. And they were very professional. Everything was orderly until two sticking issues caused the mess. That was the route the protesters were supposed to take, and of course the timing, because according to the police, the protest can only happen between the hours of 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. But the protesters wanted to go beyond 4 p.m. all the way to 10 p.m. That the police didn't want to happen. And the police also didn't want them to go towards the Jubilee House, which is the seat of government, because according to them, it's a security zone. But the protesters insisted they use that route, and that's what culminated into the violence, unfortunately, on this occasion.
Adib, before I let you go, Adib, what's the government saying about this protest?
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
What's the government saying about the protest?
Well, we've not had any statement from the government. What we've had is a statement from the police criticizing the protesters. According to them, the protesters threw missiles at the police, and the police had no option but to respond. According to that statement, 12 police officers have been hurt, and some pictures have even been published and is making rounds on social media. On the other hand, some protesters have also been hurt, even though we have not had the police talk about that. So for now, the government has not spoken. And just about an hour ago, we had the protest leaders holding a press conference at the International Press Center right here in Accra. And they've been quite categorical, criticizing the police for, according to them, starting the violence in the first place. But we're yet to hear from the government, hopefully tomorrow morning.
Well, security consultant Adib, Saani, many thanks for speaking with us.
My pleasure always.